Tim, I'm thinking back. You know, over the years, you get the odd Labour MP or the odd Tory MP, and they get done for fraud, and you can think of those names and scandals going back, certainly sort of 40, 50 years that I've been looking at current affairs. But now, and by the way, it's Labour too. I've had many MPs in trouble. But just look at that list I read out of Tory MPs in real trouble, serious legal trouble. I guess the Partygate stuff has gone away to a certain extent with Ukraine. But again, Boris Johnson tells us it's within the rules. Then it turns out much of it wasn't within the rules. And then we have this Sunak saga. I mean, it just seems to me that one of the reasons Brexit happened was we'd sort of lost a bit of faith in the direction our political class were taking us. We're back to square one or worse, aren't we?
Well, I think you started by talking about how Boris had performed well on the Ukraine crisis, and I agree with you with that. But in a way, I think it could be a bit of a trouble for the Tory party in a way, because without it, they would have had to face up to what clearly was an ethics crisis in the party. And without it, I think the questions that you're asking tonight would have been much more centre stage. And I think what the Ukraine crisis has done, and yes, Boris's leadership, Ben Wallace, particularly the Defence Secretary, has been brilliant. They have been able to sort of take their eye off the ball of the domestic front. And the clock is ticking, and months are now passing in which they're not dealing with what I think was an ethical void at the heart of government. Downing Street didn't set a moral lead, and the Prime Minister seemed to be able to get away with things, and I think certain Conservative MPs thought they would then be able to get away with things. And there is a sort of a Middle England vote out there, I think of people like my mum, who won't vote Conservative if there is a sort of a smell, about them. And that is what is... Yes, there's a sort of a Brexit sort of working class, new red wall vote for the Tories, but they can't neglect that core Shire vote that has been the bread and butter of the Conservative coalition for 4 or 5
decades. And it wants a very decent Tory party.
It wants a decent Tory party, and it's not getting it at the moment. And that needs to be cleaned up.